Welcome back. This is Ryan. Ryan was born a female in a small Midwest town where people described her as a tomboy. It wasn't until Ryan got into college that he began to explore the feeling that had plagued him through life, his life, that he was born in the wrong body. Now, you are an LGBTQ educator. Did I say that?
You did.
And the author of Second Son, and shares his story of transition with us today. Thank you for being here, Ryan.
Happy to be here.
So at what point did you realize that you were born in the wrong body?
Well, I would say that at what point I had the first awareness that there was something different with me was about 2.5 years of age.
Interesting that at 2. I mean, is that's when we have our earliest memories, maybe? Or?
Well, they say you can have a sense of your gender identity, meaning your psychological sense of self, as early as 18 months. But 2.5 is when we start having memories, and then age 3 and 4 with language development, we start hearing kids express it more.
Okay, so what do you remember from back then?
I remember I lived in a small town in Nebraska, and we had a pool in our backyard. And I was outside with my dad and my brother and my mom and my sister. And I saw my dad and my brother in their swim trunks. I saw my sister and my mom in their swimsuit, and I had a little bikini on. And I looked at everybody, and I looked down, and I was like, So I just took the top part off.
You felt like it wasn't right for you?
No, I felt like I identify with the men in my family, not the women. And so I wanted to be like them and wear swim trunks instead of a swimming suit.
And so how hard was it for you to sort of convince everyone around you that this was the case?
Well, back then I didn't really talk about it much. And being someone born female, they just saw me as a tomboy. So there wasn't the stigma that we see placed on people born male that act more feminine. When you're female,
so it was more
accepting.
socially acceptable. Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, so you would sort of fly under the radar as a tomboy.
Correct.
And then at what point, at what age do you want to sort of take things further, like introducing hormones and doing the change?
Well, my actual transition didn't happen until I was 25. But at age 6, I knew that I really wanted to be a boy. And I remember having this awareness that my body wasn't changing, even though I was out wishing on stars and trying everything else to try to change myself. And I remember just sitting in the bathroom and thinking, this really sucks. I've got dealt a bad deck of cards, and I have to live with this the rest of my life.
And so is this something you could talk about with your parents?
No.
You just kept it to yourself?
I kept everything to myself. I always joke that the F word in my family is feelings.
Oh.
So.
And you abused your body. You became anorexic?
Yeah, when my puberty kicked in around age 12, I stopped having this wish of becoming a boy because my body kept becoming more female with your hip development, breast development, and the menstrual cycle, all these things that were horrific for me. And so I just had this goal of just stop being female, which turned to body hate and obsession. When I got into college, I just knew that there was something wrong with me. And I felt that I could never be conditionally loved by anyone. And I felt like I had to become more of a woman to do that. And I looked at Hollywood, or I looked at magazines, or I looked at the pressure with my family. And I thought being more of a woman meant being skinny, which led me to anorexia.
So what would you say to people that, are maybe going through the same thing you struggled with through your earlier years? What advice would you give to them?
Well, I always say to them, honor your truths. You have to love yourself first. You cannot have authentic relationships with other people until you have an authentic relationship with yourself, no matter how scary it is. And I understand it's scary. I've lived through 2 suicide attempts, severe depression, but where my life has taken me just by finally facing that fear and moving forward. And the people that I've met, and the lives that I've seen changing, and the kids that have families now that conditionally love them, let them be who they are. That's what love is about, and it's out there. But we have to push past that fear.
Well said. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your story. Happy to meet you. Next, the transgender community is in crisis. What we can do to help. Stay tuned. Welcome back. 41% of transgender people will attempt suicide, and 1 in 12 will be murdered. The only thing that can change those staggering statistics is awareness. All right, so I want to ask, about resources for families. Ryan, what can families do to get information about what's out there for them?
Well, there's some wonderful organizations out there that are specifically helping families. Transactive out of Portland, Oregon, Gender Spectrum out here in California, Gender Odyssey Family also is a wonderful resource. Looking at the Gay and Lesbian Center in LA, you may find some resources there as well.
Okay, and Dr. Joe, also, what could you say as far as resources for
I think one
parents?
of the great things we've seen over the last 5 years is an increased number of medical providers who are willing to jump into this work and really start to do it. and there's probably 2 or 3 big centers like ours at Children's Hospital Los Angeles that are starting to do the work more regularly. Trans Youth Family Allies is a wonderful resource for people as well. They have a parent listserv called TIFA Talk, where parents can come and really share their challenges and their joys with other parents, and the wonderful organization.
All right, great. Casey, what else can you add?
Transforming Family, which is a group sort of like what you guys were talking about in Orange County, where they have groups for the kids and the families and the parents. And also groups at school like Gay and Straight Alliance, things like that, where you know, there's just resources where kids can go and talk to other kids and teachers, again, to try and get the schools involved.
And that it does happen.
It does happen, and we have to educate the teachers.
It's a new normal.
It is a new normal.
You know, everything is unique. Each family is unique, and each child is unique, and we need to love them unconditionally. Thank you so much for being here today. I want to thank all of my guests for sharing their stories with us. For more information about today's topic, please log on.